Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So ever since I started making videos, I've been kind of consciously avoiding making this one, but I recently finished reading Exit West by Mohsin Hamid, and it basically felt like a sign from God that now is the time. So here we go. Today on the channel, I want to talk about genre. Now, there's a lot of different ways to think about genre and a lot of different arguments to be had. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using the word genre the way that most of the serious writing world uses it, as a slur. More specifically, a slur used to set up this dichotomy between fantasy and sci-fi and horror and romance and literary fiction. Now, before we get started, I think it's only fair that I confess my sins. While I know in my heart that there isn't one kind of writing that deserves to be held up as something important and wonderful, while the rest of it is shrugged off as fluff and drivel, I still do that. I can't help it. So yes, I'm part of the problem. Feel free to yell at me in the comments. I probably deserve it. Because even as someone who myself writes what most people would consider to be sci-fi or fantasy or what have you, I still look down on it. I like to think of what I do as magic realism. But why? What's the difference? And in my mind, I think, well, one's good and one's not, but that's ridiculous. So I wanted to talk about it here because this book, I think, is a perfect encapsulation of this argument, or at least of why this argument is ridiculous. If you don't know, Exit West is a quick and compelling illustration of two young people falling in love in the midst of the Mideast refugee crisis. As they're displaced and they move from city to refugee camp to shanty town, we get to watch the strain it puts on their relationship. Despite being a situation that I myself have obviously never experienced, it was seriously one of the most relatable depictions of a relationship I have ever read. Like, it hurts so good. And when I describe the book like that, you're probably thinking, huh, sounds like a beautiful novel. An instant classic. But I could also describe it like this. Exit West is a fast-paced novel about two young lovers who travel the world through magical doors that transport them instantly to cities around the globe, running from a terrible war in their homeland. And when I describe it like that, you might be thinking, wow, that sounds awesome. Terrible war, magical doors, teleportation, my kind of fantasy book. But both of these descriptions of Exit West are 100% accurate. The difference is, one of those descriptions would get it a moderate cult following among die-hard genre readers, and the other makes this one of the New York Times Book Review's 10 best of 2017. But it's the same book. It's what makes this one more important than the other drivel. When we look down on genre writing, I think what we're really trying to look down on is thematically lazy writing. The kind of writing where all you do is smash spaceships together, or all your narrative problems can be solved by just waving your hands and saying, I don't know, magic. Or books that are just thinly veiled softcore pornography. Or ghost stories. Writing that focuses too much on the excitement and the thrill that the plot can provide, rather than trying to say something thematically that will impact the reader and the way they view the world. And honestly, I think that's just a lazy reading of genre, considering that most science fiction has historically been written to get people to think about the larger implications of technological advancement on the human condition, and that most of our popular fantasy is really just an elaborate metaphor for religion. Still not sure about romance, or ghost stories. I think the only thing that really matters about the difference between genre fiction and literary fiction is the why of it. And the why should always be theme. Don't think, oh man, I really want to write a book about spaceships. Think, oh man, I really want to write a book about loneliness. Spaceships just happen to be really lonely places. In Exit West, Hamid wasn't thinking, wow, teleporting doors would be so cool. I should write a book about that. He wanted to illustrate the very real hardships that are experienced by millions of refugees as they face displacement and homelessness and discrimination. Sure, the doors are magical portals to other places, but that's not the point. They're simply a metaphor for the fear and powerlessness that comes with the situation, among other things. And yeah, they do solve the problem of having to write about the logistics of international travel, but again, not the point. The magic was in service of the theme, not the other way around. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Left to Right. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, what do you think genre is? Do you think it's worthwhile? Do you think these distinctions are completely ridiculous and we should all just shut up and read? I'd love to talk about it.